The government of Ambazonia, led by President Samuel Mbeseha, has announced the upcoming Ambazonian Strategic Assembly. The Constituent Assembly, scheduled to take place from Saturday, September 27th to Tuesday, September 30th, 2025, described as a groundbreaking conference. The Strategic Assembly is expected to bring together the core leadership and key stakeholders in the ongoing struggle for Ambazonia's self-determination. Now, the event will host delegates from across the global Amazonian community, including civil society representatives and influential voices within the Ambazonian movement. President Sako emphasized the importance of the gatherings, stating that it marks a pivotal moment in defining the future direction of the struggle. He called on all Ambazonians, both at home and abroad, to contribute actively towards the success of the event. We'll take a listen now to the President's audio.
Fellow Ambazonians, from Saturday the 27th of September to Tuesday the 30th of September, we are holding our major Ambazonia Strategic Constituent Assembly in Washington. This is a groundbreaking conference that will be bringing together the core of our struggle, members of government at all levels, from the federal to the county to the LGA, accredited delegates and invitees to this conference, because it's happening in 2025, a critical year in our struggle. The challenges are many, and the things we have to do them now. This conference is a major conference that is going to hold. I encourage all those who are registered and qualified to participate to do everything to be there in person. And for all of us, I enjoin you to make your contributions. To make this conference a success, we need participation and we need contribution. So the link is going around. Donate specifically for this. Be a doer. Be a partaker. Be the one that makes results happen, not one that observes and simply talks about them or criticizes. For if we will succeed, it is the doers that will take us across the finish line. Be counted among the doers. I'm counting on you. Even the dead and the living are counting on you. Ambazonia is counting on you, especially your sacrifices today. God bless you as you click on the link that is provided and make your contribution, whether you are attending or you are not attending, whether you are qualified, whether you are a delegate or a non-delegate. Matter of fact, all Ambazonians, all of us are called to make this conference in one way or the other a success. God bless you.
Well, the President encouraged every citizen to support, participate, and engage constructively, stressing the need for action over criticism. He also noted that when Ambazonia achieves its goal, it will be the active contributors who will be remembered for making the difference. Now, the conference is expected to feature strategic planning sessions, policy development discussions, and the unveiling of key initiatives aimed at advancing the independence movement. Organizers have called for unity and full participation from all sectors of the Amazonian community. Further details regarding the conference agenda, speakers, and expected outcomes are to be released in the coming days. Now, Barrister Mbeseha, this is something new. This is not the Amba Peace Plan. It is something new. It is the Ambazonian Strategic Constituent Assembly. We'd like to know from you. Tell us more. What is this about? What are Ambazonians exactly looking at here?
Yes, it is important for people to know, because many people don't know. Maybe I say most people don't know. We're in a revolution. Our revolutions take time. We must create a situation from time to time to evaluate what is going on and change if need be, correct errors if there have been anyone, adopt new strategies moving on, to face new circumstances when they arise. This is common in most revolutions. It is also becoming a tradition in our own revolution. For those who don't know, this thing we started with the IG. Let us forget about the restoration. They would forget about the constituents, whatever thing was Skakov and so on, that one. But after at the end of the fourth conclave, October 2017, That Congress set an interim government. That's the time we created a government. An interim government was created 30th of October 2017. This was not the first time this struggle coined itself into a government in exile, which government was headed by President Ayoktabe. To emphasize again, because people have argued this thing, it has been going on. Ayoktabe was given that authority as the president of the interim government and was as a form of government. There was no mandate that Mr. Sisiko Ayoktabe will be there for 2 years, for 3 years, for 5 years. No, he was just made head of the government. And he was mandated to take the revolution down the road to Buya. No matter the time, you will take it to Buya. That was the contemplation of the interim government created on the 30th of October 2017. Of course, we know what happened. A few months, just 2-3 months after that, January 2018, Sisiko disappeared from the scene. He and some of his cabinet members were all adopted. From now on, I tell you, we all know that already. And so came in President Sako as the interim president of the interim government. And so that government that was set on October 30th they had very limited things that they could do. It was important to evaluate as we move on. Now the president that was put there is gone. Someone has come in as the interim of the interim. And so the first time that we had to review what had happened since the installation of the government was in 2019 under President Sako. It was done in Berlin. They call it the Berlin Conference. That brought in all these stakeholders. Who are stakeholders? People who have interest. So they went to Berlin in 2019 to evaluate what was going on since the creation of the government in 2017. A year had passed, or almost 2, and then a new person had come to replace Sisiko Ayoktabe. They met now in Berlin and call it the Berlin Conference. Things then changed from there. We evaluated what was intended to be done from 2017. It had to be reviewed. It was reviewed in Berlin 2019. And like I said, the APP before 2018. The APP, that's the Ambazonian Peace Plan, was the outcome of the Berlin Conference. We took it down to the counties. The county by county, which will become to be LGA by LGA, was a product of Berlin. The government created in October 2017 had set up something we call the Restoration Council, which was supposed to be an assembly. What was the restoration? It was supposed to be only 7 members, representing different regions of the world. One person from Europe, one person from China. They all converged. It would just be 7 to constitute the Restoration Council. When they got in, they changed. We realized that someone from Japan, from whatever, was not important, because by then you went to Germany or to Japan or to the US, you were from Ambazonia. You were either from Donga Mountain, you were either from Fako, you were from a county. So we changed it, let this representation in the Restoration Council become a county thing. Let the county send members to the Restoration Council. It was not right from 7 members to become county representatives and LGAs. You see the major things that were taken there. And before I move on, this is called Constituent Assembly. Constituent Assembly. Constituent means they can deal with the Constitution. They can take decisions. And so that's what happened in Berlin. It expanded the Restoration Council. It changed the interim of the interim to the interim. President Sako ceased to be the interim president of the interim government. So now, can no longer be the interim president of the interim government. He has assumed the full position of interim president of the IG, president of the interim government. was no longer an interim president of the interim government. Now, that adopted, he became the interim president, the president of the interim government. Take note. Not the interim president of the interim government, but the president of the interim government. 2019 in Berlin. Fast forward, it has got to do anything. 2021, I think 2022, the same conference reconvened in Washington, D.C. When they reconvened in Washington, D.C., because it's a constituent assembly, many more changes had to take place, adopted by that constituent assembly. For example, we moved from interim government to government in exile. We ceased to be called interim government. We just became a government in exile. That's the decision of the Washington, D.C. Conclave 2021, 2022. So they made those changes. We transformed from Washington, D.C., we changed the Restoration Council, we moved it from and transformed it into House of Representatives. We're no longer a Restoration Council. We amended the Constitution, we are free to amend it. And for those of us who follow this, you remember that after that we have all these pro-coup plotters. People argued that the Constitution was wrongly amended. The President and the House Speaker just did this and that. We said no. That gave rise to what we called at the end of the day, the Truth and Reconciliation Committee. They looked at all those things and said, look, as a constituent assembly, they had the right to amend the Constitution, and we did it. And then fast forward, well, here we are. Look at another constituent assembly. It has a lot of powers. It will review it. It is called strategic now. It is called now Ambazonia Strategic Constituent Assembly. It will deal with the strategy. What we have been doing in the past. LGA by LGA, can we change? The draft, can we change something else? The diplomacy, can we add or subtract? That's the strategy moving forward. Coming into 2026, we're now end of 2025. And so this conference is important because it's called a Constituent Assembly. It has the powers to amend the Constitution. It has the powers to adopt new policies going forward. It has the powers to implement many things. So those who thought, who have argued that, well, people just sitting there, we're not just sitting here doing nothing. We're evolving. It will take the temperature of the struggle. It's assess and how far we've gone. Adopt new strategies if needed. Amend the old ones if that is necessary. And move on. That's the main essence of this. It's called a Constituent Assembly. But should everybody be there? No. All the 8 million or 10 million or 5 million Ambazonians cannot go there. Constituent Assemblies are representatives. We choose delegates who go there and take the decisions on our behalf. That is what happened in Washington, D.C. 2 years back. That's why, for example, I've just given the example. We had now the reps, we have now speakers, not chairman of the Restoration Council, and so on and so forth. And so this is important because this is coming end of September 27th to 30th. 30th is the eve of October 1st, the day that was supposed to have been given independence by joining in 1961. So this strategic planning is strategically put there for reasons that the president will explain when the time comes. In summary, that's what it is all about. Expect a lot to come out of it. Expect people who don't understand the question. But remember that those who question should understand that in a revolution, we are not going to go to Cameroon today, to Ambazonia, go to Bamenda, go to Ndongo Mountain, go to Mbeseha, ask people to come. No, we are in exile and we have to do these things from where we are until we get back home. For those who have questioned why is somebody sitting there not being elected, no, people in revolutions are choosing. This Constituent Assembly has the right to choose people, replace them if they so want, or put procedures for choosing people to save us. That's how revolutions are run. And so expect a lot, but a lot will not come from nothing. A lot will come from your participation. You'll be there, but you have the right to participate. If you have something to say, there's a website there. Write out your articles if you want. Give your suggestions if you have, and then expect a lot after the Constituent Assembly. The president will have more to say, but technically, this is what it is all about. Over to you.
Thank you, Barrister Mbeseha. That was well explained, and it just goes to show that this could actually be the evolution that the struggle really needs. Thanks for that explanation.